Welcome to Calvary Life. This is the podcast for the members of Calvary Baptist Church and also anybody out there who is interested in local church life. We're glad to have kind of a holiday edition, a Christmas edition. We're going to spend a few minutes just talking about Christmas traditions, things that we as our families do, and just excited to hear and be excited about Christmas as it comes. And by the way, I'm Charles.
I'm Paul.
And I'm Tommy.
Yeah, we have Tommy Perry here with us today, our Director of Missions. Glad he is here to offer some of his family traditions. So I'm going to let him go first. So Tommy, tell us about
Charles.
You're welcome. Tell us about some things that you and the Perry household do for Christmas.
So we've done a couple things, a few things, mainly spearheaded by my wife, but we've again, as far as Advent leading up to Christmas.
Yeah, more than just Christmas Eve.
Yeah, more than just Christmas Eve. And so we intentionally read some books along the way every night. Again, it just depends on the night, and again, but we try to keep on pace with that. But books like Jotham's Journey, Tabitha's Travels, Ishtar's Odyssey, Bartholomew's Passage, those are all books as children journey in a specific journey toward Bethlehem. It's very adventuresome, and there's good guys and bad guys. There's Decca of Megiddo. He's the bad guy, and so but the ultimate bad guy. But there's other things, like Keeping Holiday. There are good books out there by Star Mead, which is a good Christmas book, Advent book. Grandpa's Box by Star Mead. It's not necessarily a Christmas book, but it is a story of redemption aimed at kids. And so Keeping Holiday is a great one. One of the lines in there is, you can't find the founder, he finds you. It's not just the founder, he's the finder too. And so it's just a great time with us and our kids, just leading up to Christmas. And we have things like Advent calendar, Advent blocks, do those kinds of things. On a lighter note, there's riding around on, at least prior to Christmas, looking at Christmas lights.
Yeah,
hot
does
chocolate.
your family still do that?
Yes, they do.
Okay, I got to talk to my family because they gave up on me on that.
No, we get all the the two in college, everybody get in the van. We have our hot chocolate and we ride around, look at Christmas lights.
Yeah, I think actually me and Melody are doing that tonight by ourselves. So if anybody wants to join us, it's going to be just us going around town looking at Christmas lights. But we love to do that. That's so much fun.
Yeah, it is. And so,
So where do you guys go around here to look at Christmas lights? I know there's like that, that 2 Street disco light section over there. What's that? Westover? Is that it?
Yeah.
What is no?
Where's the one that's all synced to the music and everything?
Yeah. It's
Westwood.
Westwood.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's
pretty cool.
That's a good one. It's hard to get in and out of. So it's hard to get in and out of. So.
And then you have Dunwoody has
Dunwoody.
Is that the one that's got all the every house has it right off of John D. Odom right there?
Yeah. I saw that the other night, kind of by accident.
And then there's one across the street from that over in. That's just got all the signs he's made and stuff in the yard that's really lit up. There's a few, but it's Enterprise now has got a pretty good setup out there. I've heard. I haven't been out there yet.
I haven't been out there.
Trekking there today. Who knows?
And maybe I'm too old for this, but Tommy, I'm a little bit older than you are, I guess. But do you remember when you were a kid? Do you remember your favorite Christmas shows? Like when the Christmas season came, like Monday night's going to be this one, then Tuesday night's going to be this one, and so I was trying to introduce one of those to my granddaughter, Charlie, the other night. Man, she was just utterly bored by the whole thing. I just couldn't even get her to watch it.
Wow.
It was the whole Burl Ives as a snowman and Rudolph and the whole thing. And I think she found the whole thing just utterly disinteresting. And I was profoundly disappointed at that.
Frosty the Snowman, Rudolph the Red-Nosed
I think
Reindeer.
you got
into
a
it.
few more years.
And Grinch.
A few more years.
The original Grinch, the classic one. But now she wants to watch this new Disney-fied one or whatever it is. I'm not talking about the Bizarro one with Jim Carrey.
Oh, yeah. My kids hate that one.
I'm not talking about PCP Grinch. I'm talking about like whatever this semi-animated thing is.
Yeah.
And she's made me watch it twice now. And I just, what's it called? It's terrible.
Yeah. The illumination.
Yeah, I am that old man. I'm the old man on the Christmas porch.
Yeah, no, we do. That's another thing too is watching holiday movies. Home Alone 2. Those are always on running constantly.
Do you drink eggnog?
I do not. Not eggnog.
Charles, you drink eggnog?
I like eggnog.
Yeah, I don't know what's that.
I like it. I'm the only one that will drink it in my family, but I usually get me a pint of eggnog and drink it through the Christmas week. But I hadn't got it yet,
Sounds
so
iffy.
I'll have to go do that.
Now, speaking of food and drink, now we do have on Christmas morning there is a tradition where the day before Jamie makes homemade cinnamon rolls. And so we cook those on Christmas morning. We have breakfast casserole. It's a tradition. And if we don't have that, I mean, it's and so that's kind of, speaking of food and drink, that is one of our traditions.
Yeah, we have cinnamon rolls too on Christmas morning. That's a big treat.
And you guys both have large families. So has it been important to you with your kids growing up and everything? And of course, we're empty nesters now. Our kids come back for Christmas. You guys are kind of in between spots there, hybrids now, but has it been important to you? Was it important to you when your kids were little and all the way through their growing up years for them to be at home on Christmas Day?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yes.
Oh yeah, and we're lucky. We don't have to travel for Christmas. We have both sides of our family are here in Dothan, and so we're able to see both sides without having to make a trek and split Christmas up, which is really nice. God has blessed us with that, so we get to be at home. Usually the afternoon is just a chill afternoon after a big Christmas meal and those kind of things. And so it's nice to not to have to do that travel. But yeah, everybody's together Christmas morning. My kids have been great to me. They don't get up at the crack of dawn. I don't know about y'all. Tommy, have you get up at the crack of dawn?
Not at the crack of dawn, but it's not early. So, but yeah, that is a good thing not to be up
and I'm liking the idea of not having to build a bike or whatever, those kind of things that you used to do. I don't have to do that stuff anymore. So now our new tradition is we get home from my in-laws usually about 8 or 9, and we watch a Christmas movie together then, and then we go to bed. So it's probably 11 or so before we go to bed Christmas Eve, but we're not up early. We're not getting up before 7:30, 8 o'clock, which is really nice.
Yeah.
So up until recent Christmases, my kids were still sleeping at the foot of my bed on Christmas Eve. Big kids, foot of bed Christmas Eve, and getting up crack of dawn early for sure. But we wanted everybody to be home on Christmas because we wanted to keep that sense of this. Obviously, Christmas's primary message is not family, but we wanted to celebrate the primary message of Christmas as a family. We didn't want that just simply to be everybody do your own thing, go your own place, or that day didn't have special meaning, that we could spend it anywhere and it would just be the same. So we've always been very intentional about that. Even when we had to travel a little bit for grandparents and things like that, Christmas Day we wanted to be there, and we wanted to try to keep that focus on Christ. And that's kind of hard when you've got a house full of kids and you've got presents under the tree, and you got a jolly fat man delivering something else, whoever that jolly fat man is in your house. I won't say one way or the other, but you got all these things that stir up anticipation and excitement for kids. It's kind of hard on that morning to keep the focus on the birth of Christ. What have you guys done to do that? Obviously, Tom, you're talking about leading up to and Advent series, things like that. I remember one year we got one of those Advent calendars, had candy in it each day, open up the box. Mm-hmm. I think when my kids figured out there was candy in it, they pretty much killed it way before Advent, so we never got to what the point was. And some of the candy was rather disappointing, so we didn't do that again. But, trying to keep the focus on the main thing, keep the focus on the love of God for us at Christmas. What do you guys do for that? What's Christmas morning look like, or Christmas Eve, or whenever you really I want to gather the family around and I want to focus in on Christ? How do you guys do that?
Well, I think one thing that Calvary has done for a long time, and it's been a tradition of Calvary since I've been here, is a candlelight Christmas Eve service. It's something that I think pulls the whole church family together for that specific reason of gathering. And usually we're reading Luke 2 during the service, singing Christmas carols together. It's looked a lot of different ways over the years, but it's always been about that focus. And I really think our church family, a lot of our church family come to that. If they're in town, they're here. That's one of our, probably close as our biggest event we have of the year is that Christmas time. And it is a lot of families from out of town, but it's really a lot of just us. I think that's one way that we have that focus. And of course, we're doing that again this time. This will be on Sunday, which is a little different. It'll be our kind of like our normal Sunday evening service, but at 5 again in the Fellowship Center. So I always look forward to that. I think that's one way that we keep the focus of Christ and His coming around Christmas.
Yeah, I was going to say, for maybe some younger families listening, and you're trying to think about the value of some tradition. You want there to be some tradition, and we'll talk some more about some of the things that our families do, but you're trying to discover what your own traditions are going to be. I would say make a foundational one, gathering for worship on Christmas Eve. We don't do that just simply because it's a popular thing to do, or we know it'll be high attended. We really want to do that because that is a focal point. It's a focal point for our church family. It's a focal point for my family. We want to do that. That's something we're going to do together. And I would really encourage you, particularly those of you with younger kids at home, talk about it afterwards. Use that as a springboard to go home, and before you do anything else, before kids go to bed or whatever it may be, talk about it. Talk about what you saw and heard and what that means to you and what you understand and all those things. It's a great hub of any other family tradition. I wouldn't say give it all over to us. Spend some time in Scripture yourself or whatever's traditional to you, but let that be one of the central pieces, central components of your family Christmas tradition. And Lord willing, we're going to do that every Christmas Eve. We'll always be doing that. That's something Calvary will always do.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then another thing that we have done, I guess I married into this tradition that started way before I did in Melody's family, is on Christmas Eve, after the Christmas Eve service here, we always go back to my in-laws, John and Margaret's, and during the time there, of course, there's gifts and those kind of things, but before any of that starts, they do a play, and the kids usually are the ones who are doing the play, and it's kind of grown over the years, but it started with Melody and Michelle were little, that they were the center actresses in the play, but now it's the grands and the great-grandkids are doing it. So they act out Luke 2, that we read the story together and watch them act it out. And then we usually sing a Christmas song, some kind of Christmas carol together. And then usually it's even grown to being now where my mother-in-law, Margaret, asked some of the older grandkids if they'll give us a testimony of the night of what their year's been like. And so it's really a good time just to sit and think about the year we've had and be thankful for it. So all of that happens before we get into the gift giving. It's something that I really enjoy and really am glad that they started way back when, and we still keep that tradition going every year.
Yeah, and that's the same with us, with Jamie and I, and Christmas morning is, reading the Christmas story, Luke 2, praying before we get into any kind of, gift giving, and to keep that, central focus where it needs to be. And so we even do that at my parents' house, my mom's house, as we go over. Again, our family is relatively close here, and so once we do everything Christmas morning, we head to my mom's and basically, reading Scripture and praying and before we get into gift giving, eating and all those kinds of things. And so, but my kids, speaking of Christmas Eve service, kids look forward to that here at Calvary for the years that we have been here, and it's just a great time of coming together, family, and focus on Christ, and so those are good things. So,
last several years, Cecilia and I've been reading just different devotionals, a different Advent devotional each year, and there's so many good resources out there. I mean, just so many good ones, just to keep your focus, keep you locked in. And I know that season is about past now. I mean, we're almost to the day, so by the time you hear this, we're only going to be a few days away from Christmas, but maybe think about that even for next year, and picking up something that we're going to do this for every day of Advent. We're going to read a daily reading that keeps us focused, keeps us locked in, and we try to have some good resources down there at our resource center in the Rock and things like that. But just another good tool, and just teaching opportunities. One of the little things we've done, and we've got one of those Fisher Price nativity sets that we bought, maybe 3 decades ago now, and that one. We got Charlie a brand new version of it, so she's got one under her tree. But we've had that thing since my kids were tiny. And this is not a big deal. It's nothing hard. It just sits there. It's the center under the Christmas tree, and it's just always a teaching point. It's just always, particularly when your children are little. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. For them, that's play. We're going to get out. We're going to talk about Jesus. We're going to talk about Mary and Joseph, and we're going to talk about these animals and where was Jesus born and why was Jesus born? Who are these men that come to visit Jesus and all that? And so just those opportunities. So whether it's something more formal, you've got this beautiful nativity set on the side, or you've got this toy one. Just using these teaching opportunities, and it's just really interesting. And I'm kind of thinking this kind of renewed in this with a granddaughter who's very engaged in this now, just hearing it come back, hearing the story come back through her level of understanding, through a near 3-year-old's understanding. You just see the value of teaching opportunities and those traditions that will mean something to them, that will give them something to return to. And Lord willing, there'll be gospel tools too down the road. If you should have a son or daughter who strays off the path somewhere, those memories are not just warm memories of home and family. They're reminders of key elements of the gospel. These things I can come back to, and in those moments, I can cling to those. So like for my number 2 son, Alex, he was kind of sadly texting with us the other day. I've forgotten what it's like to celebrate Christmas. This is his 6th Christmas overseas, and so mostly he does that alone. Only one time we've been there close to Christmas where he is, and we didn't get there till the day after. But those memories are very, very important to him. Those traditions that you might take for granted, or your kids might take for granted because they get to do them all the time. When you don't have them and you're in a faraway place, they mean a lot. And all those things that you remember hearing and thinking about, singing, that sort of thing. One thing I do miss from my childhood that was a family tradition for my extended family is we would go over to an aunt and uncle's house, and my cousin, one of my oldest cousins, she plays the piano, and just everybody would gather around that piano just singing. And she plays piano for her church, and so she could play whatever. So sing this, play this. And we'd probably spend, after having a big meal and whatever presents exchanged, that sort of thing, we just sing. And I really, that's an old tradition that our family used to do every year that I miss. I wish there was somebody that could sit around the piano and we could just sing those songs together.
It's not like you don't have anybody that's musical in your family.
I just thought about that as I was saying it. I just don't have a piano.
Well, we got a few that we'll give you.
Yes. I knew what I was stepping into. If you're up in this room, you see one of our vintage uprights right here.
You're welcome to use any of these rooms anytime you want.
You can have one if you can get it home.
Yeah, you can get it down the stairs. It could be yours.
Down the stairs. It could be yours.
It's like somebody offering you an old pool table or something.
Yeah. But it's like those resources. You're talking about resources, and just the gospel-focused resources that are out. There's a plethora of them. I mean, there's many of them. And I mentioned a few earlier, but they're all gospel-focused resources that point to the reason. I know, cliche for the season, and so, but good stuff out there for parents with young kids, and just solid stuff. So all
and if you want a list of that, I'm sure Tommy would love to help you with that. Just send him an email, or Zach would, or any of our folks up here on staff. We could give you a list of things to look forward to, maybe for next year. Maybe look at the sales after Christmas. Go ahead and get prepared for next year. There'll be a lot that's on sale. I don't think our resource center really goes much on sale for those kind of things because we're not making much as it is or any. So.
Hey, here's a little bit of a plug. Obviously, I get nothing for this, but these are free resources, so it wouldn't matter anyway. But you can go on Desiring God, and if you click on the section of their website, resources and things, books, every year they're producing, maybe it's not every year, but I know there are more than a few of Advent daily devotionals, and they're free downloads. Yeah. And there's some good stuff on there.
And I think we've done that. I think Jamie and I have done that one year, did that one year.
There's some really good ones on there.
So
right. If I had better foresight, I would recommend to you the one that Cecilia and I are reading this season by Sinclair Ferguson, because it's so rich in the first few chapters of Matthew. But that would have been a great lead into Matthew, but maybe next time. But it is a really great Advent source, and there are a lot of good ones. I would just encourage that. So some of the things we talked about, finding some good things to read and read to your family, getting your family engaged in some meaningful way with a Christmas story. Whether it's Charles and his family and they're reenacting it and looking forward to it because it's fun and it's engaging for the kids at all ages. But just forces the issue, just pushes. Let's put Christ in front of everything. To being in church together, I think we undersell sometimes that as a part of our tradition. Let's do this. Let's not miss this part. So I know Sunday's going to be a busy day for a lot of people, and some of you are going to have to travel, and grandparents, and this, that, and the other, and some demands. Just let me strongly encourage you: make church a part of your tradition. Not just Christmas, but make that a hub of your family. This is what we do, and we're not gonna miss that for something else. There's nothing more important than that. And this is a bit of an advertisement, but for us. This coming Sunday for Christmas Eve, we have 2 services, our regular Sunday morning service, and that'll be different, unique from our Christmas Eve service that night.
In the sanctuary.
Christmas Eve morning in the sanctuary at 10, and then Christmas PM service at 5 in the Fellowship Center. There are going to be different kinds of services. As Charles mentioned, the evening service, as we've traditionally done for quite a while now, will be a candlelight service. And I think it's a really good opportunity, too. We didn't mention this, but for those of you who have family in town and that sort of thing, that's maybe they're not active churchgoers,
right,
maybe not Christian at all. Christmas Eve, that PM service is going to give you a great opportunity for them to come, and they're going to hear the gospel, hear the good news. Behold, I bring you good news of great joy, which will be for all people. Unto you is born this day in the city of David a Savior, who's Christ the Lord. That's our focus. That's what we're going to declare. So that's Christmas Eve in the PM, and then Sunday morning be, I think, a really beneficial service for us too. And we're going to begin, by the way, our series in the Gospel of Matthew starting this Sunday. So just good opportunity to come and make that centerpiece. Put everything else in second place. Let grandparents know we can't be there for early lunch because we got church Sunday morning, or we can't stay all afternoon because we got church Sunday night. But I think it'll be worth your time, and it'll be worth your family's time.
Yeah, and I hope this has been as well. And we'll wrap it up. So we hope you all have everyone that has a great Christmas weekend, and of course Christmas Eve. Come see us again. And we will not have a podcast next week as the offices will be closed up here. And so we'll see you back in January as we start 2024 together.
Yeah, we got some good stuff coming up in January. I'm looking forward to some of those discussions that we've got planned, that we've got on the docket. And if you've got some ideas or thoughts that you have for our podcast, some things you'd like for us to kick around, some questions you'd like answered, or subjects you'd like discussed, or some what ifs, what abouts, those kind of things, shoot us an email. Podcasts, plural?
Singular. Podcast.
Either one.
Whatever you want to add.
So whatever I say, because we had to adjust. So podcast, if you want to type less, or podcasts, plural.
We'll make it work.
At calvarydothan.com. And shoot us some ideas and things. And if they meet Charles's approval, we'll do it. If he hates it, then we won't do your podcast.
We'll put it as an addendum of something.
All
right, so we are for God, for Dothan, and for the world, and we'll see you in 24.
God bless you. Have a Merry Christmas.